So today we've definitely got, I think, one of the worst generator designs on a conversion coach. This is a country coach. Comes out of about a 98 model Prevost country coach conversion. It's got a PowerTech generator in it. And I've talked about this on another video. I was going to show you guys, what has gone on. And we had a viewer ask us what we did to remedy this problem. So I figured I'd bring you guys along. Anyway, we had to pull the generator out because the fuel lines that Country Coach ran through the bus. So they ran it from the tank to the generator and from the tank to the Webasto or the Pro Heat or Aqua Hot, whatever you want to call it. They ran the lines, but they ran these cheap lines through the middle of the bus. And if you guys can see, they are severely cracked. Like they are, at any minute, they could probably fail. And the problem was they ran this line through the middle of the bus. And they secured it, and there is no possible way to get that line out without disassembling all the base, without pulling all the cabinets out, without pulling the toolbox out, without pulling all the carpet out, without pulling the bulkhead out, pulling the generator out. There's no way to get to it, and it has turned into such a job. And I don't understand why Country Coach did a design like that. They could have plumbed copper pipes through there so that you could run this cheap hose from the generator to the copper pipe, and then you could service it when it went bad. But that has to be the pinnacle of cheaping out. And if that line were to blow in there, you would have hundreds of gallons of diesel fuel all over the middle of the coach, in the channels, inside. That is just absolute poorest design that I've ever seen. So we pulled the generator out. We got the generator out of the bay. We stripped the whole bay, and it had some old foam in it. And I'm going to bring you out there and show you that old foam. So I told the customer while we had the bay stripped, we were going to go ahead and line the bay with new insulation and sound deadening material and kind of fix the bus the way it should be. Another thing that we did was when we pulled the generator out, we had these airbags, and I don't know if y'all could see, but look how cracked these airbags are. I don't know if y'all can see that. I can't tell if you can, but they're cracked all around the top and around the bottom. And these little boogers are expensive. But now is the time, because this is on the accessory system. So when the bus airs up, Country Coach has it plumbed directly into the accessory system. So once the accessory system comes up, and for you guys that don't know, the accessory system is your air suspension. If you have air wipers, if you have a pneumatic door, any accessory item, air horn, stuff like that, your air operated slides, that's all in your accessory system. So if you have an airbag leak like this, the way Country Coach designed it, if one of these bags are leaking, that could be a reason why your accessory system in your bus is leaking down. So while we have the generator out, now is a good time to change these bags. Another thing I would like to talk about is this generator is not on a slide. You cannot slide it out. You cannot do anything. All you see is what you see on this side right here. So if the belt breaks for the alternator and the water pump on the front, because the fan is mounted external somewhere else, but if the belt breaks, there's no possible way to change that belt without pulling this generator out. You either got to pull it or slide it and turn it, which is a whole lot of work. Another very, very bad design. Belts break, they wear out, they dry rot over time. And whoever thought about this stuff was just, they thought, we'll build it, they'll put 20,000 miles on it, and then they'll never work on it. But they either did not care or they did not think the foresight that it would have to be worked on. Here's some coolant hoses on this side, and look how bad of shape they are. But the paint off the hose, but this hose is dry rotted too. And same with this one right here. And as you can see, we've got a new one that's gonna go on there. And we'll have the new one that's put on here too. And here's our new belt. When it comes to, this is my opinion, When it comes to running belts on this type of system, I really like the green belts if you can't get the factory belt, because the green ones they have a better polymer or better material in the belt itself, and they seem to last a lot longer. If you just get like a cheap, A924 or something like that belt from like your local parts store, something like that, the belt will not last very long. And the fact that we want a good quality belt on this, because you have to pull it out to put the belt on, which is ridiculous. All right, so what we've done is, if you look, see these back doors, we still have to finish these off, but this is the old foam that I'm talking about. But you see all the dirt and debris that's coming out of this foam? I don't like to use this type of foam for that reason. All this dirt and debris that's coming off of here is getting sucked right into that radiator, getting sucked right into the fan, and getting, blown into that generator compartment. And then the air filter to the generator gets plugged up because all that dirt and dust right there. So we're gonna eliminate that. We're gonna put a different system on there. And if you could see in here, if you look into this bay, you see how they have built these boxes? Well, that's where they run those lines. They run those lines in the middle of this bulkhead that's in the middle of the bus, right above that fan, above it, in this box. They ran those lines in this box right here, up through this bulkhead right here, where all your wires, where all your breakers, where all your air lines, where all your heater hoses and everything for the Prevost side is run. So they run them all through here. And there is no way to pull those old lines out. You can't hook to them and pull them through. No possible way can you get those lines out. So what we did was we came in here and we basically have made 2 new holes, and we've run a very high quality line, and we're going to run it through this box, and we modified that wall right there so that they will come out on the other side where that generator goes. There's a door that goes here, and there's a door that goes here. And so we've run those high quality lines. But let's go look at the bay, and I'll show you what we've done to the bay. So it's a work in progress, but this is what we've done. As you can see, we've gotten rid of that crappy foam, and we have lined this whole thing with this silver material. Not only is it better for acoustics, for sound, for inside the coach, but it's also way better for thermals. And so we've lined the ceiling, we lined this, we're gonna be lining this door, and as you can see, we've used some pretty high quality line. This line is not gonna dry rot, this line is not going to fall apart for 10, 20 years. This line is gonna last a long, long time versus that crap that they put in there. And if you do need to change it, because the way we ran these lines, since we already did the hard work, if you need to change these lines, all you're gonna do is take a couple clamps off that we put on that are securing the lines on, unhook them from the tank, and hook your new line to them and pull the new line right through. And maybe an hour or 2, you'll have these lines changed. This customer should never have to change them again, but that's something that they have to think about. And as you can see, we've got our new airbags in, and we're getting really close to being ready to put the generator back in. But again, this is a pretty big job that, in my opinion, was a waste. If they would have just built the coach properly the first time, even if it cost them, $1,000 more to build this coach. In the grand scheme of things, when you buy a new one of these, if you tacked an extra $1,000 on this coach, you're talking about, in today's money, like $1 million, $1.5 million. If they tacked on an extra $1,000 to use quality products, the people who are buying these buses new, they're not gonna blink an eye at that. So why would you sacrifice the build quality on that? Buyer beware. If y'all are looking at a country coach and you're thinking about buying one, come over here to the generator compartment and look at the lines. If the lines are all cracked up, this is an expensive thing to do it right. And you can see we still have to wrap that one wall right there. You see this wall right there where that outlet is? Has all that old foam still on it. You can see the difference of what we did and what was there. We still got to pull all the outlets off of that. We got to pull the breaker. We got to pull all those lines and wires off to wrap it with this new material. Look at all the dirt and debris that's in there from all that foam. Like, this is a sealed bay. It's pulling air from, down below, but still, look at all the dirt. We're gonna have to clean that out really good because all that foam is trapping all that dirt and debris and putting it into that radiator. Here, move those right there. Yeah, you go on the other side and try to hold that pipe up. Me and Chris will put you there. All right. This is it, right? All right, hang on.
Tape on the back side of this flange.
Damn, dude.
Make sure nothing gets in it.
Is that lined up?
I can't go from here.
All right, so we're back. You can see we've run these new lines, and it's not ideal to run it in front of the air cleaner, I know, but our other choices were to move it over on this side, but then we'd be running it over the exhaust, or to run it in front and all the way around, which would be a waste, or to run it over the exhaust and back around this way, and then, have like a couple different fittings to make that work. So I chose the path of least resistance. Worst case scenario, you could just undo this fitting if you need to get this off, but there should be enough room that you might be able to sneak that out without doing that. We have a little more cleanup work to do, and then we also have to finish off this panel on this side over here. He's working on that now. He's going to be putting the insulation on it. That blocks that off so that it basically sucks all the heat out of this bay through that radiator down there. And like I said, we've got it insulated, we got it sound deadening, we've got all the air lines hooked back up for the airbags below. We've primed the engine. I ran the prime pump for a little while to make sure we're got fuel in the lines and everything like that. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna preheat it a little bit, and then we're gonna crank it, and I'm probably gonna let it run for a little while just to make sure all the air gets out of the system and everything like that. Y'all notice or can hear me while it's running, but how are you going to get that belt on there? There's no way to get that belt on that. That thing has to come out almost 12 inches before it will clear enough for you to get that belt, because there's a shaft on the front of this thing that sticks all the way out to about here on the crankshaft. So one of the last things we have to do to this coach, we got to service it and check it over and just make sure. We've got to change the chassis batteries because they're a couple years old. Matter of fact, they're 3 going on 4. This is my opinion. Other people may have a different opinion of it. Nowadays, they don't make batteries very well, especially wet batteries, especially cranking batteries. If your batteries are 2 to 4 years old, you need to load test them, you need to check them, and you possibly need to change them. We're going to be changing the chassis batteries on this bus. One of the last things we have to do is fix this front bumper. It was a cable and it had some overcomplicated bumper release system on there so that you could press a button and the bumper would release. Well, the owner said it was broke and it's never been hooked up since we've been servicing this bus. So what I did was I took a trunk latch out off of a 1999 Mustang and installed it underneath, and I'm wiring up a switch, and I'll show you guys when I get done with it, the switch that you just press and then it'll pop the whole front bumper down. The other things we done was we upgraded the headlights to the LEDs. I'm not a huge fan from this aftermarket company of the air gap, but apparently it's supposed to be like that. I didn't make the headlight kit, I just put it in. If it was me, this panel I feel like should be a little longer. But to be fair, I don't know if Country Coach modified this piece either, so I'm uncertain on that. And both sides are like that too. It's got like a gap in there. We also did the tail lights. The tail lights look really nice. And this is the panel that he's finishing up. He's got it stripped and he's cleaned all the old stuff off of it. And now he's cutting some new pieces and about to put it on there. So I like the tail lights. They look nice. We did those too. Are you ready? All right, so we've got the front bumper done. You can see I put this little switch right here, and that will pop that front bumper loose. All right, so we got the motor running. We've had it running for a while, bleeding the air out of the system. It's running good. We've got that back wall in now, if you look in there. And then if you look at the back of this door, the door is finished off also. So now, when you shut this, it should be pretty quiet. We're coming to a close on this one. This was a very difficult job. We did a lot of maintenance items while we were in here doing stuff, and we had other things to do, but to me, it's a total unnecessary cost. Coach Builder should have done a little better job about running the fuel lines through there, and could have been disastrous. If one of them fuel lines, as rotted as they were, blew out, you'd have 100, 200 gallons of fuel pumped into these bays. Fuel would be running out everywhere. Spraying on a hot exhaust, you could have a thermal event. They say a thermal event. I don't know, any manufacturers, they do not like the word fire, so they say thermal event, but it's a fire. So 94 to 2001, you might want to look at those lines, look at that generator. So if you're looking at buying one and the lines haven't been done, that's something you want to look at and keep in your brain that that's going to be a costly thing for you to get done. But I appreciate it. Thanks for joining. If this is stuff that you like, think about liking. If this is stuff that you don't like and you want to see something different, let us know. We do everything buses. One thing I will say is to remind people, we are Cardinal Coach. We have full service shop. We work on entertainer coaches, charter buses. So if you're looking for something, you need something done, reach out to us. Email will be in the description. Appreciate it. See you guys on the next one.